Thank you very much indeed, Keith. And I am just going to go and check out with Michael Rutter about these rumours that you're calling him Sete Gibber now. Michael, what do you think about all this nonsense that's coming on here, you being Sete? I guess you would like to be earning his wages, wouldn't you? But yeah. Seriously, I know you're still injured, you're still knocked around. You've got a bit of a tough task ahead of you here today, haven't you?
Yeah, very tough. I don't know what to say, actually. I'm just sitting here now wondering it's going to be difficult. And I don't know, I'm just going to try my best. And, you know, we've got a good race set up. Just we've got to hang in with them and see just what happens at the end of the race. But looks difficult for me.
Yeah, it does. It's quite a long way out there. But I guess you just hope they take each other out, maybe go on the grass, and you might be there to capture them like Tommy Hill did last time out.
I don't know I'll be that lucky.
All right, well, we wish you all the luck and hope it all goes well for you, Michael. We'll wander up here and have a quick word with Leon Haslam, who's trying to get his little donkey engine started here, I think. Leon. It's never going to go, that. It's not going to be fast enough. You didn't have a particularly good qualifying, as we can see by you being on the second row here, but nevertheless you have a good race setup, I believe.
Yeah, we were one of the quickest on race tyres. We were third this morning, warm-up on race tyres, and actually only 0.2 off on qualifying tyres, but ended up in 6th. But definitely going to be a close race. Just need a good start here. It's pretty hard to pass, but can't be no worse than last time from pit lane, so looking forward to it. OK, well, we wish you luck with that. And I did hear you telling Keith earlier today that no team orders, I understand that, but if you can do anything to help Gregorio, you might just, help him out a bit. I've got to be overcautious when it comes to me and him battling, and if it does come to the last few laps and it does help his championship, I've got a kind of contract for next year, so it's kind of persuaded to help him, but nothing direct, and hopefully we can get another 1-2 for the team.
OK, terrific. Thank you very much indeed, and good luck to you, Leon, from the second row of the grid as we make our way up. It's hard to concentrate down here, guys, with all these grid girls. Not that I'm obviously interested in that sort of thing, but we're going to wander up here and have a look. We're going JR on the front row of the grid. Great qualifying for him. JR looking good and obviously looking focused. I reckon you're probably on the best side here, this side, on the inside, John.
I'll take your word for that, Steve. We'll see. Yeah, certainly I'm on the racing line, that's for sure. We'll just try and get a good start, and if we can get in the front, then we'll see what we can do from there, really.
Great stuff, that's fantastic. And we've got Kiyonari here that's obviously focused for that as we wander over. Tommy Hill, I might just go and have a very quick word with Tommy. I know he's put his helmet on here. I only want to get near the grid girls, really. Tommy, terrific, well done, congratulations, Cadwell Park. Now you're really up there at the front. You haven't got to work quite so hard on the front row. You must be well chuffed with that.
Yeah, I'm over the moon at the moment. You know, we're all still putting our effort. The team's putting in hard work. I'm putting in hard work. I'm racing as hard as I can, and to qualify on the front row again is all good. So hopefully I can give them some in the race.
Terrific, good luck from that on the front row. We've got Rob over here, actually. We might just have a quick word with Rob McElnay that's around here. Rob, R6 Cup winner from the past coming through. It's all fell into place, hasn't it?
The cunning plan's come into place, yeah. I mean, it was fantastic.
Whose plan was that?
I think it was one of yours, was it?
Oh, it must have been.
It's, yeah, Tommy's just shown what we can do if we invest in the future young kids, and it's great for everything at the moment. We're on a crest of a wave, and Tommy's had the best week of his life, I think, last week, and everybody pat him on the back, but he deserves it. It's been great. Great,
good luck, and hope it all runs nicely for you. And we'll obviously go over here and check out the man that is on pole position, Gregorio Lavia. Last time here at Oulton Park, Gregorio, if you've got 1 second, pole position, fantastic. You weren't starting so well last time here, but it's looking very good for today, eh?
Yeah, it's much better than the last time here, and we had not much time to test things during the weekend because it was raining a lot, but anyway, we are in a good position for the race.
OK, thank you very much, Gregorio Oliveira. How about that, Keith? But when we look down here on the front row, a Ducati, a Yamaha, a Honda and a Suzuki, terrific stuff. Keith, reckon going to be a good race?
I think there's no doubt about that. Also, there's a Kawasaki next up. Top 5 places on 5 manufacturers. I don't know, but I can't remember a time it's been quite as comprehensive across the front couple of rows as that. James Buckingham has qualified very well, just on the 4th row as well. You can just about see him from where you are. I've got to say that young man, he's a big, tall, gangly young man, but he's sticking it in amongst all the works boys as well.
Well, I should think there's 1 or 2 of those boys on the Rizzler bikes there thinking about their job maybe, because he is mixing it with those guys, and there's nothing worse. You've been there, Keith, I've been there, when all of a sudden that the guys in the privateers start doing it. But anyway, we're about to
Airwaves Ducati off the line. We're going to find out right now. They come under starters' orders for race 1 today. Down towards turn 1 they shoot, and who's it going to be? We're not going to tell until we get there. The Hondas have got great starts. Kiyonari it is. Kiyonari and Tommy Hill. Kiyonari, Tommy Hill and sweeping round the outside, looks like Glenn Richards, or was it even Dean Thomas? So through Lodge Corner for the first time. Sorry, that's into Cascades. It was Old Hall, by the way. Lakeside, they're sweeping out towards now.
Good start from Lavia. I mean, we've seen Lavia do fantastic things from the third row, but in the front row, getting into third in the first lap's an excellent place for Lavia.
Through Lakeside, Island Bend we're at now, and this is Shell Oil's corner, back down to what, second gear and something like 80 mile an hour on the way in. Kiyonari looking to make that break if he can from Tommy Hill on bike number 8 there. Then it's 36 Lavia.
This is when Kiyonari is at his most dangerous, when he can get the whole shot, when he can get clear track in front of him. He's very, very strong, and this is his best chance here at Oulton Park.
Up and over Hilltop, down towards Hissy Chicane now, into the braking area, something like 135 mile an hour back through the gearbox to a 65 mile an hour chicane. Hill from Lavia, 8 versus 36. Then the awesome Clay Hill, up over Clay Hill and on towards the double right-hand Druids, which again is another awesome set of bends. And look at Kiyonari. John Reynolds still in there as well. Watch for the Rizla Suzuki. Reynolds is back in 5th place at the moment. He'll be warming up nicely. Kiyonari pulls it down into Lodge Corner, second gear, 70 odd mile an hour. There's a bit of a train building up behind the Yamaha man. Tommy Hill under pressure. It's only going to be a matter of time. I think Lavia is going to have a bit of a sneak past him, perhaps. Down towards...
Not quite close enough. See Glenn Richards down the inside of Lavia.
Glenn Richards carrying loads of corner speed there and manages to get under Lavia as they go into Old Hall Corner. Along the avenue, into Cascades now.
Glenn Richards really pushes the front end hard, that Kawasaki, and that's where he's strong. Certainly brave move there into Old Hall in the first lap, but Lavia wasn't part of the plan for Lavia. He really needs to get back in touch if he's got any chance of catching Kiyonari.
Look at the way Kiyonari is absolutely cleared off here. Lavia is going to try and take a look back, but that's what it's all about at this stage in the championship. It's about the spoilers that can go so quick, and at the moment we're seeing that from 75. Glenn Richards really is out of this championship, as is Tommy Hill, but they're taking up valuable point scoring places from Lavia. And Lavia, well, he's not going to be happy to see Kiyonari clearing off at the front.
They certainly are, and this time of the year a lot of riders fighting for the jobs for next year. They want to put on a good performance, put on a good show. Tommy Hill and Glenn Richards are two of these riders.
Well, one man you cannot see out there at the moment is number 88, the Vivaldi Kawasaki of Scott Smart. He joins us now in the commentary position. I'll tell you what, Kiyonari again, Scott, clearing off at the front, and Tommy Hill and Glenn Richards blocking off Lavia, and you got John Reynolds at try on the pace too, your old mucker.
Yeah, I don't really want to see that, do I? But I mean, this is perfect for Kiyonari. But I've never seen Lavia in the first couple of laps ride with so much caution. He's normally so aggressive because he's normally coming from the third row.
JR under Lavia. Lavia goes back another place. John Reynolds gets it right under. So the Rizla Suzuki and John Reynolds. Well, I was beginning to wonder when it was going to happen for Rizla Suzuki. For me, it was beginning to be a situation where nobody was able to make that motorcycle do what they all say it's capable of doing. But words are cheap. Now JR is out there making it through the field, and Lavia's back with him. That's why I hold my breath.
It looks like Lavia's finally switched on, so now we should see some good stuff. But Glenn's out there in second and looked really strong this weekend.
And watch out for Leon Haslam. Leon Haslam down, going under the lot of him. Leon Haslam trying to get underneath John Reynolds as well. Leon Haslam on bike 91. The other Airways Ducati. This is a real battle, and through goes Lavia. He's had to force it past Tommy Hill. He really cannot be messed about for any longer. We're at Shell. JR takes an opportunistic look up the inside of Tommy Hill as well. They're going to be frustrated to try and get past here at Britain Chicane.
And this is all playing into the hands of Kiyonari away there at the front. He's got 1.6 seconds already. Not surprising he's stuck in the fastest lap so far, but Kiyonari looking really good at the front. Glenn Richards, though, he's got a bit of a gap between himself and Lavia, but we know how strong Lavia can be once the race gets going.
Glenn's always really hard to pass, though. He runs into the corners so hot and he's so aggressive. He will never give you an inch. And obviously last year he was my teammate and he was still pretty aggressive on me.
Bolting on the back of them, of course, is Carl Harris on the number 9. Honda Racing.co.uk, entered bike backed by Dunlop, but all the action is looking at the front. Kiyonari getting away. Glenn Richards now is towing along Lavia. Lavia on the inside, but too far away from making a pass into Lodge Corner.
There goes Leon.
Leon underneath Tommy Hill, but runs a little bit wide. Tommy Hill's got better drive, I think, through Deer Leap. Whether he manages to make it stick as they come onto the start and finish straight, we're going to find out in a minute.
He's got better drive, but he doesn't have as much horsepower. I think for me at the moment, Tommy Hill's probably riding the best of anybody out there, because when you're with it, the Yamaha is basically quite slow.
Lavia just stuck in the fastest lap of the race.
1:36.832. This is going to run and run. New lap record, of course. Look at the difference already. It's nearly half a second quicker, and that is going to go out the window as this race builds up.
And also that lap record was set last year in his 6 or 7 lap dasher. Everybody was on really soft tyres. It was a restarted race, so at that point...
Sorry, Scott.
That was aggressive move,
That
but
was.
good timing. Managed to turn it there at Shellhouse Ayrton, but bit of a borderline move there on Glenn Richards.
Pulled it down brilliantly, and I can tell you, Scott Smart, for those of you wondering why he has all these stats in his head, he doesn't even bring any paperwork in here, and he's got everything up in that brain of his. It's worrying, you know,
You're
Scott.
saying I'm boring, aren't you? Thank you.
No, not at all. You and Julian Ryder.
Now let's see what Lavia can do with
Rutter is down
Kiyonari.
to 11th. He's lost 2 places in the last lap.
I just wonder what's going to happen to Michael Rutter. I really do at the moment. You can see this British Championship slipping away from him, and with the pace that they're running at the moment, Michael's got to dig so deep, and it's so... He must be hurting. You can see him having physio. Every time we try to interview him in his truck or wherever he might be here, he's having some kind of physiotherapy. He's got to be hurting still, even though he makes light of it.
I think physically he's not 100%, but you could see his interview with Steve there on the grid. He was bewildered sitting back there. He hadn't got a clue. Well, I was very unsure as how he was going to make his way to the front, and at the moment that's not happening. He's still in the 11th position.
Yeah, he never seems that awake at the best of times, but I think it just weighs on your mind, and so the pressure's certainly been getting to him.
Well, by far his worst qualifying position of the year, and really struggling back there in 11th at the moment.
Ryoichi Kiyonari's being caught though, Scott, if I can get across you there. Ryoichi Kiyonari's being caught by Lavia now. Lavia has just about dropped Glenn Richards in 3rd place on bike 75. Then it's John Reynolds in 4th place on the number 1 bike. Tommy Hill has slipped back to 5th place on the number 8 bike. Leon Haslam is in 6th place on the 91 bike. Then Carl Harris on the number 9 machine. Lavia still holds the fastest lap and a new lap record. There he is.
But watching Kiyonari through practice, he really struggled Friday, he struggled half of Saturday, but he's a grafter. He just worked away and worked up to front row position. But I don't think the Michelin's have got the advantage they had earlier in the season. Dunlop have worked really hard, as I said before, in the summer. Lavia's got some traction. These new Dunlops are working really well, and you can see another fastest lap for Lavia, and he's pulling in Ryoichi Kiyonari.
And JR's in the 36s as well. Now he's got some clean air. He's the 2nd fastest rider out there.
25 points for a win, 20 for 2nd place, 16, 13, 11, right the way then down in single points to 1 point for 15th place. That's how you score this. And I really do think we're going to have to keep an eye on exactly who is where as far as points are concerned. Kiyonari was 9 points adrift of Lavia. If he wins this one with Lavia 2nd, he'll be 5 points closer. If Lavia gets in front of him, he will extend that lead by 5 points.
And where will Michael Rutter be?
Well, out of the equation as far as the British Championship is concerned. If this kind of performance continues, I've got to say, whatever the reason... Oh! Get that head shaking. Lavia making the Ducati shake from side to side out of Dearsley. And believe me, when you stood at the side of the track just there, that looked scary.
He just did a 36.3. That was qualifying pace. That would have got him on pole.
He has got some serious grip, and I'm sure he checked his front brake lever there for disc pads being thrown back after that wobble coming on the start-finish straight.
And he's made the gap again instantly. That was the most amazing lap for race tyres ever.
Well, I think we almost glossed over what you said about the 36.3. Qualifying pace, which will have been done on a qualifying tyre, and Lavia is at that pace on a race tyre.
2 1,000 slower than his pole position, and his pole position was the quickest lap we'd ever seen of Oulton Park.
Unbelievable. Gregorio Lavia has come of age, really, in the British Championship. I think he's riding better than he's ever ridden, even in the World Championships.
He certainly impressed me. We had a glimpse of him last year at Thruxton, and he was very impressive on one outing at Thruxton, but this year he certainly went way up in my estimations. I had no idea the potential he had, but I think you're right. His riding has come on. He's a better rider, he's a stronger rider, and I think in many ways deserves to go back to the World Superbike Championship.
Well, that's where we
just want to get rid of him, yeah.
James Buckingham leads the Superbike Cup Series at the moment from Steve Brogan. They are the top 2 privateers, and that's further back down the pack. Buckingham is 13th overall, but leading the Superbike Cup, and he will, I think he'll win the Superbike Cup Championship today here in Oulton Park if he carries on the way he's going at the moment. Kiyonari, bike number 6, the HM Plant Honda, just in front of Gregorio Lavia on the Airwaves Ducati.
Well, if Lavia's tyres can sustain the pace, he's got a huge advantage over Kiyonari. He can afford to sit there, maybe save his tyres for a few laps, and then maybe just suss out where a good passing position is. But you can see a lot more corner speed there going through Old Hall.
What's impressive is the fact that Glenn and John Reynolds are both keeping up, and they're actually slightly closing the gap now. The pace of this race is so much faster than the one earlier in the season.
Yeah, Glenn Richards always carries a load of corner speed. He likes it here, of course, at Oulton Park. John Reynolds, well, that was a cracking qualifying situation from him. I wonder whether he'd be able to sustain that in race pace, and he certainly is. So he's answered all the questions up the inside then. Do you know what is significant about Gregorio Lavia is that he always works out where his perfect passing places are. Somewhere in qualifying, he actually works out where they are, and he makes them time and time again in exactly the same time-honoured Gregorio Lavia fashion.
Well, I guess when he wasn't qualifying as good, that's fairly important. Off the second or third row of the grid, he knew that he was going to have to do a bit of passing, so sussing out somewhere to pass. And the other thing, he always passes, and he passes cleanly, and normally doesn't cost the rider, he passes too much time, but that's a real neat pass into shallow. It's a little bit wide, but pulls it down tight and makes sure that Kiyonari can't get around him.
You can see the front end bouncing over the bumps in the middle of the corner there. It's quite impressive. It's definitely on the limit. But he's obviously thinking about it because he can see on his pit board that the third and fourth place are catching up, and he doesn't really want to get in that melee. You certainly don't really want to be in a melee with Glenn Richards at the best of times, let alone when you're fighting for a championship.
Glenn Richards says, sorry, Neil.
Yeah, what would be good for Lavia now, of course, if Glenn Richards and John Reynolds can get in between himself and Kiyonari and cost him a few points, but looking like they're closing, and this could get really interesting very soon.
Well, also you've got Leon Haslam and James Hayden having put up their fastest laps of the race on that last lap as well, so if these guys burn up a bit of tyre, you never know, we might be joined by another couple of riders. But I've got to say, I'm really impressed with John Reynolds on the Suzuki. He really is hanging right on in there.
Kiyonari will be watching and looking just to see if he can do anything, really see if he has got anything left in himself as a rider, or if the Michelin's do have any grip left.
Steve Brogan is a retirement into pit lane, so the Superbike Cup contender who was in second place to James Buckingham is now in pit lane. James Buckingham absolutely out on his own. 25 points are going to go his way at the end of this race, barring any major mechanical problems. As Kiyonari, we ask the question just about every time we come on air, can Kiyonari get himself involved in a brawl? It looks to me like he might be thinking about it here at Oulton Park.
Well, he has to if he wants to win that championship or hang on to the chance of winning the championship. He certainly has to hang on to Lavia and then deal with Glenn Richards and John Reynolds.
36, Gregorio Lavia. 6, Ryoichi Kiyonari. Darryl Healy to your left, Colin Wright, team manager, to your right. Watching their man out front. Is the British Championship going to go to Spain? Is it going to go to Japan? Or is Michael Rudder going to make a miraculous recovery and keep it in the UK?
The thing is, for Kiyonari, which is quite exciting, is he needs to be in front of Lavia. He can't afford to sit behind and be cautious. He needs to get a points gap.
Is it me, Neil, or Scott for that matter, that this track has got a little ripplier? It certainly looks to me like these bikes are bouncing a lot more on the front end than I've ever seen them.
Yeah, the cars have certainly pushed ripples into it. It was bumpy last time we were here, but the pace is half a second a lap faster, so when you try and find that, the bike's going to move around a lot more. But Kiyonari's bike looks almost stable in comparison to Lavia's.
Haslam and Hayden again, their quickest laps. Haslam is into the 36s now as well. So Haslam, watch out for him. He's back in 5th place at the moment, but he should be just closing in on these guys a little bit. He was half a second quicker than the leader on that last lap. So Haslam on the other Airwave Ducati finding some pace. Wait for him to come into the air. You can just see him in the back of the picture, slowly but surely closing in on these guys out front. Well, he did say that he hasn't had his hand forced as far as team orders are concerned, but I don't think he's in any doubts that he's got to give Lavia a bit of a hand if he can.
That's not out of the question. These guys definitely catching, and he's dragging James Hayden with him.
Well, James Hayden's got a little bit of work to do. He's 2 seconds adrift of Haslam at the moment, but you can see there on the back, Haslam is closing in 5th place on the 91 bike. So will the teammate to Lavia come up to his shoulder and give him a hand against the flying trio behind him?
Kiyonari looking back, he's certainly concerned about the guys coming up behind him.
Master of understatement.
Well, what I was saying is normally he never looks back because he's never really got a problem, but this weekend at Oulton Park he knows he's got a serious fight on his hands.
Up the inside, he looked good here last time round, and this time he's bounced it up the inside of Lavia.
He's wide.
Yeah, and then pulls it back.
And Reynolds past Richards.
Reynolds through as well. Whoa, we're having a bit of elbows here. Oh, this is what it's going to be towards the end of this British Championship. It's going to come down to great riding and those who are prepared to do whatever it takes to win this British Championship.
Glenn back past.
Keogh just shown that he is prepared to fight.
He's up for a scrap. Yeah, that's the question we've been asking. Will he battle it out? Will he tough it out? Will he exchange paint? with the competition, and the answer is yes.
Kiyonari sticks his elbow in the face of Gregorio Lavia. Lavia might have thought that Kiyonari might be a bit weak when it came to a battle. That has just been proved to be wrong. Down into the corner that Lavia favours for a pass. It's the Shell Oils corner here at the right-hander. Then we blast through this long right-hander into Britain chicane. I'll tell you what, that Honda does stick. It's planted when he's on the gas, isn't it? It really drives through the turns.
Rutter's just set his personal best lap of the race, but it's still, well, he was actually a little bit quicker than the leaders that lap, but that's because they were slowing each other up. I mean, he could potentially get up to 6th place, but he's got a lot of work.
John Reynolds down the inside, the Richards.
Good to see Reynolds in a racer mood again.
Well, John Reynolds, he wants to ride next year, he wants a job for next year. He's had a very average season, and he knows he needs to impress both the team he's with and any other potential teams that might be interested, but he really needs to dig deep, and he's got a good head on this weekend. He had real good test sessions all weekend, and he's got a real good race setup, so he wants 2 rostrums minimum, I'm sure.
Braking area at large. Gregorio Lavia just backs it in very slightly behind Ryoichi Kiyonari, the race leader. Up and over the line. 3rd place is John Reynolds. 4th place is still Glenn Richards. These 3 on the podium. Haslam still closing in. Keep an eye on that. Kiyonari's just put in his fastest lap of the race, 1:36.9. So he's upped it very slightly. But it is still Gregorio Lavia that has the new and outright circuit record here from I think it was lap 3 he did it on.
That's interesting. The pace at the front is picked up, and you can see there's now a gap between Lavia and 3rd place man John Reynolds.
I'd almost say that when Lavia was in the lead, he wanted to let 3rd and 4th place catch up and get into that battle.
Yeah.
I think he was playing the game.
He is smart.
Kiyo was looking behind, just decided he didn't want to play that game.
Now let's have a quick rundown. Kiyo and Lavia, we can see them. They're the first 2 at the moment. Reynolds and Richards in 3rd and 4th position. Haslam is still in 5th place. Hayden is in 6th place. Carl Harris is in 7th place. Tommy Hill has slipped down to 8th place now. Dean Thomas on the other. Hawk Kawasaki is in 9th place. Gary Mason in 10th place on the Stubborn Honda. Michael Rutter down in 11th place, and he is losing points left, right and centre. Steve Plater on the Hydrex Honda is in 12th place, and James Buckingham, the best of the privateers, is in 13th place overall in front of Sean Emmett on the Virgin Mobile Yamaha. That's how they are at the moment. 25 points for a win, 20 for 2nd place, 16 for 3rd, from 13, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, down to 15th place. That's how they score. So, well, Lavia led by 9 points from the man that's in front of him, Ryoichi Kiyonari. It'll only be 4.
Kiyonari's put some good laps together now. It'll be interesting to see if this is another low 36. Certainly it was a pretty immaculate lap from where I was sitting. 37 dead.
37 dead, but that's only, what, a tenth and a bit less than what he did on his best lap. So Kiyonari consistently quick. John Reynolds is the man you've got to watch at the moment. We're only on lap 12. His confidence is growing every single lap. I know that he was still a little bit concerned about the front end of that motorcycle, but he's obviously dialed it in here at Oulton Park. Put in a great qualifying time. But that is not always an indication of a great race bike. Sparks flying off the toes of Gregorio Lavia.
Well, we know when these guys stick in qualifying tyres, it can hide a multitude of problems, suspension setup problems, but JR said he could quite easily get to last year's pace with the setup he had, but pushing it past was difficult, and did have some front-end issues on his Rizzler Suzuki, but it's like Scott says, maybe the track's deteriorated a bit and the pace is so much faster.
John Reynolds, I've got to keep an eye on him. He's just under a second behind Kiyonari's race lead. In fact, he's 1.4 seconds behind Kiyonari and just over a second behind Lavia, so keep an eye on that when they come to the line. Kiyonari seems to have restamped some kind of control over this race at the moment on the HM Plant Honda. Comes up over Clay Hill and onto that double right-hander that's been causing so many people problems in the damp conditions of qualifying and free practice this weekend. That is an awesome corner, especially that bit there where you're coming out of it and launching it onto the little straight down towards the lodge.
Kiyonari's a little bit stronger in the second half of that, but Lavia pulls him in at the beginning. And I, for one, would definitely like to be good in the last few corners, because that's what it's going to boil down to at the end of the race.
Well, not if they're this far apart. I think it's going to be down to whether Lavia is going to get caught by John Reynolds at the moment, for my money. So the Michelin shod HM Plant Honda in front of the 2 Dunlop shod Bikes behind him, not forgetting, of course, still Glenn Richards doing sterling work in 4th place. Haslam hasn't managed to close Glenn Richards down.
The big moment coming out of Cascades there.
Is it me, or is he just getting a little lively at the rear end? I think I saw that last lap as well. It just looked to me like he was beginning to spin up, and I think, well, the indices are that that's the case, because look, he's just losing more time on the part of the track that before he would be challenging to try and ram it up the inside of Kiyonari.
These new Dunlops, they've got grip till the end of the race. That's what they've really improved, but they lose stability a little bit in the middle of the part of the race. The tyre gets hot and it literally, the construction gets softer where it gets so hot and it moves.
He's right back on Kiyonari though.
I was going to say, but that Honda punches so well out of the chicanes. It's always, Honda's always driven really well out of chicanes from low speed. Having said that again.
Yeah, just out of the shell oil's hairpin there, you can see Kiyonari wiggling all the way around to the chicane. So maybe he's having some grip problems.
Well, at this kind of pace, consistently, 36s all the time. I mean, Scott Smart, you've got your face all wrinkled up there. It is a hot pace, isn't it?
This is, as like I said, it's so much faster than the race at the beginning of this season, but it really counts now, doesn't it?
With Levia out of Cascades there, just getting on the gas, but it's a bit of a squiggle, bit of a wiggle, but certainly costs him a few tenths of a second while he settles himself.
It's a funny corner, that, because you've dropped downhill, so you've got a reasonable amount of grip, but you always run quite a tall gear through there because you can't afford to change gear mid-corner because it unsettles the bike too much. So when you're at a low RPM and it slides, you've got all that extra RPM that it can spin the tyre up with.
Kiyonari Levia, that's the battle we're watching. John Reynolds still in 3rd place, but seemingly unable to get to the tail of Gregorio Levia. It's Haslam we've got to keep an eye on. 3 tenths away from Glenn Richards now. Haslam is closing in. Haslam in 5th place at the moment. Watch out for Leon Haslam. Will he catch Glenn Richards? Lap 14 of 18. Surely that is not enough time for Haslam there to do anything about the top 3, but anything can happen in the closing stages. He's going to be looking at the inside of Glenn Richards pretty soon.
Yeah, Glenn a little bit wide there.
Glenn can hear him because the Ducati has got such a distinctive exhaust note. You know when one of them's behind you.
Glenn Richards, Hawk Kawasaki, bike 75. We're at Britain's chicane, up onto Hilltop. There is your race leader, Gregorio Levia, chasing Ryoichi Kiyonari on bike 6. I'll tell you what, Kiyonari's still bouncing that motorcycle all over the racetrack.
Yeah, it's the way he rides. You see him certainly when he's hard on the brakes, front end of that HM plant Honda chattering, but it doesn't seem to phase him. He just does that in braking, turns in and fires it out the corner, and like you say, it does punch out the corners really nicely.
Druid's corner, double right hand. You can see the front end of the motorcycle working so hard, just pattering across the gentle ripples here at Oulton Park, but that's the kind of ripple that you really do not want in the middle of a corner. You lose all your traction into what is effectively the last possible passing place on the track. Make a note of that, ladies and gentlemen. Over the line, 145 miles an hour.
This is a lot like race 2 at Silverstone when Levia caught Kiyonari, but he really couldn't do anything with him. He could stay on his tail, but he couldn't really force the pass anywhere.
I'll tell you what, when we go to Donington Park the next round, of course, that's where we know Kiyonari. Maybe we're putting too much pressure on him, but he won both races there last year and looked so dominant. Michelin, of course, with all their MotoGP tyre technology about that being a Grand Prix track, maybe they will have an advantage there as well. I don't know for sure, but you never really know.
Well, Michelin definitely had a distinct advantage last year at Donington, but as I said before, they did at other racetracks in the season last year, but this year Dunlop certainly closed the gap, and Dunlop reckon they're confident they at least have something that's competitive at Donington, so we'll have to wait and see for 2 weeks.
Got to bear in mind, Michelin concentrate completely on the 2 HM plant Hondas, whereas Dunlop provide, 99% of the paddock with all the other tyres, as well as trying to give the front runners the right kind of trick tyres they need to keep them up front. I think Dunlop have done a great job this year. Kiyonari still leads. And spinning with Gregorio Levia chasing him up over Clay Hill. Fantastic part of the course this. If you get it right, it's an awesome part of the track. If you get it wrong, good night Vienna.
Well, you really need a bike that delivers the power smoothly around here, and the combination of Kiyonari's riding style where he opens the throttle then picks up when he gets some nice power, and the smoothness of the Honda delivering that power, it's a pretty lethal combination.
It's a bit of a favourite. Oh, Steve Plater down, so Steve Plater's out. I was about to start talking about back markers. He's unhappy with himself there, it would look. So Steve Plater, but I did see some back markers coming into view, and Kiyonari and Levia have got to force their way through. Yes, there are. Who is it going to be? So, Kiyonari dropping down the hill to the left-hander.
John Reynolds on a Rizla Suzuki just losing out a little bit there. He was under a second, the gap between him and Lavia, but now it's down to 1.3.
Oh, James Edmeades has fallen in his first Superbike race ever as well. James Edmeades taken over the Malcolm Ashley entry, so James Edmeades has just dropped the bike as well. Ryder is okay, I can tell you. He squeezed on the back of this grid.
This would be interesting. Kiyonari coming in a back marker, coming through chicane, or just...
yeah, that would be interesting.
Not, or maybe not.
That was Gary Watts, by the way, on the Ducati Motorsport Vision bike.
Like Scott says, they just to and fro around this racetrack, real accordion effect as half the racetrack Lavia gets closer, then Kiyonari just
great shot
pulls away. This is a strong section for Kiyonari, the exit of the chicane.
He should have been a downhill slalom skier, really, shouldn't he? I mean, he's got it all bouncing and vibrating. He finds the edge all the time, just manages to dig the bike in and make it do what he wants. He almost defies physics for me, Kiyonari. Blue flags being waved frantically to keep the slow riders out of the way of the fast guys.
Where the Ducati's not quite as stable, you can see the rear tyre moves more on the track. Not slides, just literally moves when it's not sliding. It doesn't have enough stability up over Clay Hill, so Lavia just isn't quite as quick through that section when you're literally riding it off the back tyre the whole time.
I think it's always been a feature as well of Michelin tyres versus Dunlop tyres. Michelin's laid dirty, great big black lines everywhere. They spin like mad. You've seen it so often. Whereas the Dunlops just seem to be a little bit more precise, or they need that little bit more bit of precision, it would seem.
I'd say the other way round. I would say the Dunlop has always been the mover and slider, whereas the Michelin has deserved respect because it would hook up and then spit you off. But they've actually now got the tyre, so it will slide really nicely. But
must just be the way that Kiyonari rides it.
Yeah, he's very, very aggressive on the bike, especially into the turns. But this section of track, it's front-endy. You're running in real hard at the front end. Lavia's got the advantage. Towards the tail end, it's all about drive out of corners and stability over the top of the Clay Hill, where you're literally winging the bike. Kiyo's got the advantage.
Lavia is digging really deep here, but I'm not sure he could force a pass. He might get closer, but passing would be a different story.
Well, he's not got much time to do it. A lap and a half to be precise. A superb opening, enthralling race here at Oulton Park. Kiyonari knows what he's got to do against Gregorio Lavia. Lavia, though, likewise knows exactly he's got to get the advantage over the Japanese rider if he can. HM Plant Honda, well, this is their second year, of course. This brand new Fireblade came here last year in the hands of Michael Rudder and Ryoichi Kiyonari. Kiyonari, first time we saw him, British fans saw him last year, he was an absolute sensation. He hurt himself early on in the season, didn't come back particularly well, but towards the end of the year showed the kind of promise that he is now, that we now take for granted. But really it was all about whether he could brawl with the other riders. And he did today. It was a situation where Gregorio Lavia had the lead. Ryoichi Kiyonari toughed it out. And they were elbow to elbow at one particular point. But now you've got to say to me, as they come onto the final lap, that Ryoichi Kiyonari, barring a massive mistake, has got this job covered.
Yeah, 1 second gap. That's the biggest gap we've seen all race. It's almost like Lavia's decided to settle for second, but he's got to be careful because it might be third if he's not careful.
Indeed. Remember when they entered into this? Gregorio Lavia led the championship charge by 9 points from that man, Ryoichi Kiyonari, and the meat and the sandwich was Michael Rutter, 2 points behind Gregorio Lavia. Rutter is down in 10th place at the moment, and that is a diabolical point-scoring position as far as his championship aspirations are concerned. Kiyonari, well, at one point the smart money was moving towards the Airways Ducati, gentlemen, regarding who's going to win this championship. That was out accounting for. Kiyonari finds him back significantly. Darrell Healy, who is a very much experienced team owner, was reluctant to get involved in who was going to win this championship when we spoke to him earlier today. And I think this is precisely why. Yeah,
well, it just twos and fro's race by race. This race, obviously, Kiyonari's done a brilliant job and did an admirable job, really. He had to tough it out at the beginning of the race. He got away and then Lavia passed him, but he dug deep and he's bringing it home. And these Michelins, I think they just have the edge and endurance here, looking really strong, really haven't dropped off at all, whereas I think Lavia struggling a little bit with rear grip now.
Last time then, Lodge Corner, big black line through Druids, launching him down towards Lodge Corner. Deer Leap next. It's going to be Ryoichi Kiyonari that takes the first race here at Oulton Park. Over the line and checkered flag. He knows it. That is a significant race win for Ryoichi Kiyonari. Gregorio Lavia second. A fine win. Absolutely superb. Pipping Gregorio Lavia for the race win from John Reynolds in third place. Leon Haslam fourth. Glenn Richards in fifth place. James Hayden sixth. Tommy Hill and Carl Harris rounding out our top 8. But look at where Michael Rutter ended up. 10th So his championship aspirations are slipping from his grip. James Buckingham, the best of the privateers there in 12th place. Superb ride for him in the Superbike.